Welcome to the CAD-ET quick training video on the Utilities menu. The Utilities menu is where you will find options to actually program the ECMs with flash files. Most notably is WinFlash. We will actually cover WinFlash in a separate little video and cover the rest of the menu here. The first feature you'll see is the flash file search. This will allow you then to take a part number and click search. This is just a dummy part number, so once it launches the sys window, it's not actually finding a valid flash file. But if this was a real ECM with a valid production flash file, it would launch and you could then download the latest flash file out of sys. If you are connected, and we can just change it really quick here, to the sys DVDs and using the DVD version of flash files, and then we'll reload the flash file search feature here. You'll see that you can actually search then the DVDs by your serial number, and I don't have the flash file DVDs installed, so that's why it's coming up with no matching records. But if you had those DVDs installed, it would check those index files and then pull up a list of the files for your serial number then. Or you still have the ability to search those DVDs by an individual flash file part number. So we'll go ahead and change. Next is you have your preferences. So we have modify, and this will allow you to go in and basically kind of customize your version of ET. The first tab you'll come to is your communications. This is where you can change what type of COM adapter you're connected to. Confirmation, there are certain messages within CAD-ET, like for instance if you're going to exit the program, we'll show a message that says, do you really want to exit? Click yes or no. If you don't want to see any of those type of confirmation messages, you can come in here and uncheck them, and then you won't see those. Similarly, you have show dialogues. So there's certain, like when you go to print a feature, you can add in print comments. If you don't want the option to add those comments onto your printouts, you can uncheck this box, similar to the injector trim and warranty report there. Next we have your default settings. Your startup screen, this is where you can change what screen comes up first when you connect with CAD-ET. So most people probably are still on the ECM summary screen, simply just due to them not knowing that you could change that. But if you are having problems getting people to remember to pull product status reports, you can come in and set the product status report as the default startup screen. And that way every time they connect with CAD-ET, that's the first screen they're taken to, and it will help remind them of those, that they need to pull that product status report. Next you have your histograms. If you recall from the earlier videos, this is where you can set your default preference, either percentage or raw data for your histograms. And again, when you go into the histogram feature or the product status report, you can always change that setting on the fly for that individual report there. Similarly, we have our product status report defaults. This is where if you click the default button, you'll come down and you'll see that histograms are unchecked by default from Caterpillar. If you want them checked on all of your product status reports, just go ahead and check it there, and then it will be set up that way. Directories, this is where all of your CAD-ET reports are currently being saved. So we understand that our reports are buried under several directories. It's not always easy to find them. This is a kind of a quick cheater way to find out where those reports are being saved if you forget. As well, if you don't want to use the default locations that CAD-ET comes with, you can always highlight a parameter, click modify, and then you can browse to where you want your folder to go. So if you want them to go to your desktop, click OK, and you'll see that it changes it to the desktop. And then you have the ability just to set those back to the defaults, and you'll see it goes back to the way it was before. Next we have our regional tab. You have the ability to change what language CAD-ET is viewed in. And then we have our CBT and our sys tabs. And these tabs are fairly identical, but it gives you the ability to use either the web versions of CBT, the DVD, or if your dealership has set up a network installation, to use the network installation. And then same with sys. And you'll notice we switched it to the DVD for the flash file search, so we'll go ahead and switch it back to the web. Next, under Preferences, we have what's called Import and Export. And this will allow a user to either export or import their custom status groups that they've created or their directory preferences. So if you're a person that has spent a lot of time creating custom status groups, this works as a very good backup tool for yourself. So if you've created, we can see we have lots of training groups here. You can actually save these into a file and then save a copy of that file on a backed up shared drive somewhere or on a thumb drive. And that way, if your PC ever crashes and you lose your ET or happens to get run over by a machine, then you can import all of those custom status groups back into your new laptop, and you don't have to spend all that time recreating them. And then same with your directory preferences. If you've spent time changing your file structure and saving reports where you want them to, you can import those settings into your new laptop. Once you pick which things you'd like to export, you just simply choose a location where you want to save them and click Save. Give it a name. Say yes, and you'll see it was successfully exported. And then to import, you basically follow the same screens, just in reverse order. Choose Import, choose which file you'd like to import, and then pick which items out of the list you'd like to import, and click Finish. Next, under Utilities, we have our licensing functions. These are reserved primarily for the service software administrators at the dealership, but this is where you would choose, if you have a new version of ET, this is where you would go in to enter in your activation ID and actually license that version of CAT ET. And then lastly, we have Browse Product Network Devices, and this is used with helping to find any of the new devices on machines that support the Ethernet flashing capability. So your service literature would help walk you through some of this, but you'd come in here and you could detect any devices on the data link that support that Ethernet feature. And that is